What's going on, guys? Jabba Swifty here, aka Jabba. Update 1.2.6 is live. We're going to go over the core crafting system, the new changes to the Void Erosion Purge, tips, tricks, etc. Let's get into it. So when you first log in, you're going to head over to Deslin, who's becoming more and more useful with each update, which I think is pretty cool. You're going to be met with the craft core option. And then, like I always say, what is a new update without a new material for us to mindlessly farm? That's going to be the core amplifier enhancement material. Now, the only way to farm this is going to be through the Void Erosion Purge. Now, the really cool thing is that the stacks actually increase by 1 each stage, beginning at 11, going all the way up to a stack of 40. Now, this is a really cool change that I do like because not everybody has a min-max character. We're constantly getting new players, so people who are struggling or can't get to stage 30, you're not stuck only getting a stack of like 10. So you can work up to a stage that's comfortable for you and just farm the hell out of them at that stage. Back to the crafting tab, one of the first things that I noticed was how modest they were with the cost of the amplifiers to upgrade the cores. I think as a community, we know the First Descendant, there are just some materials, man, that take tens of thousands of a material just to upgrade one time. So I was a little terrified, not going to lie. I thought it was going to take us like 500 of these materials just to upgrade a core one time. Would have been devastating. Wouldn't put it past them. But it just seems though, depending on which level core you're upgrading from, that's going to dictate the cost of the amplifiers. So once you get to a point where you're just constantly farming core level 8s and 9s and you're trying to take those up to 10, from what I've been seeing, it should only be around 1 to 4 amplifiers to do that one time. Obviously, you can upgrade in bulk, but pretty cheap, pretty dope. Moving on. Another key takeaway is going to be the auto-calculate lower stages. This is an amazing quality of life option to have right off the bat. Typically with something like this, we do have to knock on Nexon's door for. In an example, the lost and found, select all tab. Took us a while, but we got it done. All right, so you won't have to do any of the arithmetic for this. So you just go ahead and slap the auto calculate. That will take care of how many cores you need to get to your targeted core. It's a very simple system. They could have gone wild with this, but they kept it straightforward, which I really do love. So if you have any questions, drop them down in the comments. Moving on to the Void Erosion Purge. All right, ladies and gents, Void Erosion Purge, grab your seats. Let's get into this. The first thing I noticed was the public matchmaking is, while being on stage 21 and 25, there is now public matchmaking for 28, 29, and 30. We're going to get into that reason in just a minute because Nexon is bringing the heat with this update. I'm not lying to you. All right, so another thing that I did notice was in the bottom right-hand corner, you finally get to see which specific enemy will be present on the stage. In my last Erosion Purge video, I talked about having to go up to the top left tab and seeing the arc obstruction barrier, and depending on which type it was, that lets you know which enemy was on the stage. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous. So I'm happy that now in the bottom right corner, you'll be able to see which specific enemy and their attribute resistances. I did put that chart that I made into a PDF file. I don't know why it didn't pop up on my last video. Hopefully I can try to figure that out so you guys can click on that and put that in your back pocket. Now, if you look at the bottom left corner, you'll see the loot table shows tier 7 cores that drop from stage 21 all the way to stage 30, beginning at a stack of 6 all the way up to a stack of 15. Now, I did rerun stage 23 and 24 multiple times, and the highest tier core that I got as a reward was a tier 9 core. It wasn't until I completed stage 25 that I actually received a tier 10 core. So if you're somebody who's not really trying to go super crazy with min-maxing, if you can get comfortable at stage 25, you'll be able to farm tier 10 cores at that point. Now, there was one portion of the Void Erosion Purge section of the update notes that just jumped off the page at me, and we got to talk about this. It said that the skill attack was significantly amplified when using attributes that resonate with the Void attribute. An example, Order of Truth, weak to electric. Now, up to stage 20, that attack amplification effect was strong. From stage 21 onwards, the attack amplification effect gradually weakens. As you get closer to the final stage, the powerful influence of the Void Erosion further reduces the skill's attack. We got to talk about this. We got to talk about this one, man. If you're anything like me, if you just heard that from me saying it right now, or if you read those patch notes or the update notes, you're probably like, dude, what the hell? Because we've had people maxing out their reactors, mid-maxing specific enemy damage types and things like that. And, you know, I was getting a little heated at first when I first read it. But then I took a deep breath, I took a step back, and I realized and I see why they did this. Okay, and let's go over a couple of these points. The first thing I believe that the devs are trying to achieve with this, way back when the game first released, they mentioned how they want weapons to be used equally to skills, and if anything, they wanted weapons to be used more than skills. So I believe that this is a way to do that. Now, with the Weapon Core Unleashed system, seeing what the percentages are on those tier 10 cores, we can make our weapons cracked for sure. Now, do I believe straight up just nerfing us via an activity to force us to use weapons was the best way to go about it? Not necessarily. But then again, that leads me to my next point. You guys know I love editing, but this is going to just be as candid as possible. When it comes to the First Descendant, there's a whole roster of support characters who are absolutely useless. Absolutely useless. There's no point in using them. They have power crept AoE characters so hard that I can't be the only person who has experienced this, where you log into Albion and all you see are Anises and bunnies running around. Now, I won't use the word, problem. I'm not going to say it's a problem. I personally really don't care. But yeah, it's like you guys have a whole roster who are just not doing anything at all. The only time you probably ever worried about possibly having Eugen or something like that is when you played like the newest, hardest Colossus. And even at that point, you'd have people being like, man, why would I want a Eugen when I can just get another Glade gun build in here and we just melt the boss? So I think by nerfing all the skills across the board, that gives room for people to actually want to have a Luna in the party to try to get some of that damage back. It gives room for Ajax to possibly come in and throw up shields and give people some breathing room because these enemies are hitting hard. Because I'm telling you right now, the switch gets flipped at stage 25, and it's refreshing and it's cool to see. Because there was moments where I was like, damn, man, we need to have a Eugen in here. We need to have an Ajax, possibly have a Luna in here to get back our damage and stuff. And just giving, again, the support characters a place in the First Descendant. Because I've said this before, and I really feel like the Holy Trinity is in the First Descendant. It's like there. You got Eugen who heals. You got Jaber, he heals. You got Luna, who's just an all-around support. Ajax and Kyle are like straight up tanks. And then you got all these DPS characters. But there was never a reason to use it, because even right now when I was playing stage 25, people were just coming in with Anise, just running up in there with Anise. I played stage 25 a couple times now, and every single time there was Anises. So this is going to be pushing people to actually party up more, which is why I do believe, and I kind of wish that they did add the party system into the game via I always forget his freaking name. Is it Dexter? Whatever his name. Whatever to do with the sunglasses sitting over there by the hard special operations portal. But yeah, like that's going to cause people to be like, okay, yo. Because I can only imagine what stage 28, 29, and 30 are going to be like. I can see people now finally saying like, okay, we need an Ajax, we need a Luna, we need a Jaber, we need support characters, and I believe that that's how they're going to finally achieve Descendant diversity in the First Descendant. Yeah, that was like as candid as I possibly can be. That's like, but yeah, that's like my next point when it comes to why they actually chose to do this. Now, a selfish part of me maybe being a little biased about it. I did build out my Viessa for the Legion of Darkness, and I kind of wish that they took the angle of your skill damage is reduced if you're not using the specific enemy weaknesses. I think that still would achieve Descendant diversity and rewarding people who took the time to min-max those smaller areas. But again, that's just me probably just being absolutely selfish at that point, and a little salty for being honest. But yeah, I agree with this move. Really taking myself out of the equation and just looking at it as a whole. I agree with what they're doing here. I can see what they're trying to achieve with this. But let me know what you guys think in the comments when it comes to that, because that's a major shift and in the way that they've been releasing these activities and the difficulty levels and the challenging side of the First Descendant. Let me know what you think about update 1.2.6 in the comments. I'm going to sleep. Jabba out.